And here we are. We living in color, y'all. I'm so happy that you guys are here with me. You all are here with me. I'm your host, Deaunte Damper. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I had an experience. Before we get into our guests, I just want to give a special shout out to Lavender Rights Project. Your staff put on an amazing event, Black Trans Joy, and apparently this is annual. I haven't skated so much. I haven't felt so much included. I felt included and I filled out my senses. And I just want to thank all the staff that works there, the community that is around West Seattle, and some of the other community members that I've seen. But if you want more information, make sure you guys check out lavenderrice.com. I just wanted to take out a segment just to thank all of them because and we have some other things that we're working on in another genre that we'll get into later, but I just want to thank the whole staff that's there. I've just appreciated the work that they've done over the years, and inclusivity is everything. Let alone, I can't tell y'all how much I felt included in that space. There's some great things that are coming up this weekend, but before we do that, I have a guest here. And she's getting set up right now. So we're going to just take a quick break. And we'll be back with the wonderful 8 different jobs. TDUB. TDUB's in the house. We are going to talk about art of the matter. We're going to talk about everything. It's just a lot to unpack here. I'm so happy that she's here. I've been trying to get her on the show for a while, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. You are watching We Live in Color.
Get ready, everyone. October 24th and 25th, Converge Media is heading right back to the Fairmount Theater. Join me, Besa Gordon, Eric Calligraphy, Trey Holiday, and the entire Converge Media family as we once again broadcast live with conversations on art, culture, mental health, community issues, and more. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment. Head over to whereweconverge.com for more information, and we will see you October 24th and 25th, streaming live across all Converge media platforms.
Community, it's been 3 years since we've been able to celebrate in person at our annual Evening with Choice. And this year at Access in Pioneer Square on October 19th at 6 p.m., we will be back together again, celebrating our journey, healing towards justice. This past couple of years have been incredibly difficult for our young people and our community at large. And one thing that has become clear and absolutely true is there's one way forward that brings all of us together, and that's as we heal. And when our young people heal, they're truly able to become who it is they've been purposed to be. So on this evening, you'll hear stories of our young people, hear the evolution of our organization as we emphasize healing in our cause. And together we will celebrate another year of impact and growth as we journey towards justice together. Again, it's at Access in Pioneer Square, 6 p.m. on October 19th, and live streaming will be available through YouTube at I Choose 180.
Before we get into our next guest, I just have to say my director is the bomb. Cuddy, you are fresh. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you. Now, welcome back to We Live in Color, and I'm here with one of the queens of Converge. T-Dub, what's up, girl?
What's going on, Deaunte? Man, it's so good to be here with you tonight.
I'm so happy that you are here.
Me too.
I remember when we were first talking about starting this, you have been one of the most supportive people in my corner, so I appreciate you for that.
Absolutely.
We'll not start the show off crying because I have an interview to do.
We're gonna hold it in. We're professionals.
You wear so many hats.
Yes, including this one.
Right. There are levels to you, and I want community to know, you are so much. You are my friend, right?
Yes.
And you are so much. Your art is of you, right?
Yeah.
But I want people to know the making.
Yes.
Takiyah.
Yeah.
So can we peel some
Yeah,
things
let's peel
back?
some layers. We here. We are at Converge. We are in the Black Media Matters studio. We are on We Live in Color with Deaunte Damper, with the Queen of Art for Converge, TDUB. So let's get deep. Let's get into
Okay.
it.
So let's talk about childhood just a bit. Like,
Yeah.
I know you from the city.
Born and raised.
So can we unpack that? What was it like growing up in Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, Seattle is obviously a very aesthetically pleasing place. I was very fortunate to grow up in the historically Black Central District, which means a lot to a lot of people. I was thinking earlier about, all of the historic, legendary families that come from that neighborhood. I think about names like the Cheathams and the Jimersons and the Dampers and the Wards, like there's so many families that have made that neighborhood what it is and what it, historic and meaningful to so many people. I went to Martin Luther King Elementary, went to Garfield High School, like life was good. It was a lot of art, obviously,
and let's talk about like the art, because it's like you did tap.
Yes.
And can we talk about that?
Yeah. So one of my first loves when it came to art was dance. I remember my mom always tells a story. When I was born, I started walking really early. And so she immediately assumed that I was supposed to dance because I would walk on my tippy toes. So she was like, oh, she walked on her tippy toes, put her in ballet, put her in tap. So that was like my early years, 4, 5, 6, 7, that kind of thing. I had the honor of studying under the Dr. Darylyn Smith, who started Totally Tap Kids, which was the first tap organization here in the city. Dance alongside, a lot of amazing performers at a very young age. And, she was about her business. She was from Louisiana, so she was very serious about making sure that we did it and we did it right. So when it came time for us to perform, we were the ones to be reckoned with. So, yeah.
So, I mean, and as you were doing that, you were also a part of other things, right? So I did. So you started to tap in elementary.
Yes.
And then you were playing basketball like by middle school, right?
Yes. Okay. So tap, ballet, and basketball were like my first loves. I was a tomboy probably from birth. So, I was always outside, doing something, playing, getting dirty, all that kind of things. I definitely wasn't like a girly girl, out the gate. But yeah, basketball was also something that I, picked up very easily. It's just like, when you're talented, shit just kind of comes to you.
Right. So, when you got it, you just got it.
You got it. So, I definitely became known, as a kid for crossing a couple of folks, breaking a couple ankles. I've broken a few ankles in my day. But yes, anything physical, anything creative, anything where I could sort of create an atmosphere of performance, of creativity, of trying things, of problem solving. I was into that. And basketball was actually that. It was an art form to me.
Okay.
That sort of like that feeling that you get when you make a basket and the crowd cheers for you. That was like, I was like, ooh, I'm on stage.
I don't know
you
that
don't recall?
feeling.
Okay.
I never experienced that, but I'm quite sure it probably has to feel nice.
Yeah, it feels pretty good.
And you went to school in the city like your whole life. So you
went
to
Martin Luther King Elementary,
Martin Luther King,
TT Minor.
Okay.
We moved around actually quite a bit. I went to South Shore for middle school.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all are familiar with South Shore.
Why do you say South Shore like that?
Why, Deaunte.
Okay. Just had to stick up for my people.
Yeah. Shout out to the South End. But I couldn't be more from Seattle. I've lived and gone to school and played, community sports and things like that all over the city. So my family is like as Seattle as it gets.
Okay. I know that's right. Seattle as it gets. So have you always wanted to be in? So if you had to pick one space where you wanted to be, that's what I'm going to be when I grow up. Was it because I heard tech before, and then I heard it was basketball. When I was
a kid, it was definitely like, oh yeah, I'm going to the WNBA. When that became a thing, when the WNBA became a thing, I was like, oh yeah, I'm probably gonna go there. Yeah, because I was that good. Okay. Obviously that did not happen, and I'm okay with that. But
still remember.
Yes, never forget. So definitely thought basketball was a thing for me, but going to high school. At Garfield High School, obviously illustrious athletic programs at that school. Garfield is known for its sports. Cuddy.
He gonna find out this week. Yeah.
But yes. So when I was there, we were at the number 1 nationally ranked varsity basketball team. So it was it was fun, and I got to meet a lot of people, and obviously high school was dope, but it got to that point where it was like a little bit more political than I enjoyed. So it was more like basketball was just fun for me. It was a sport. I wasn't really trying to strategize and do all that extra stuff that kind of comes with it. Like the business of being an athlete was not ingrained in me that early on. So I kind of like, took my little curve, in high school from basketball, but found other ways to be creative, definitely.
Yeah. And one of those things was tech.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, in high school, I obviously had affinities for creativity, but you have to have a plan, right?
Yeah.
You can't, that back when we were in high school, it was like you couldn't be an artist. That wasn't a career, because the starving artist trope was always a thing. It's like you can't make money being an artist. You can't feed yourself. You can't raise a family.
Yeah.
So I had to have a plan. So that's when I kind of started going towards tech, and I don't even know what you call it, but I was like, I had an affinity for residential architecture. So, going to school here in Seattle, there's Lake Washington Boulevard.
Yeah.
And so all the beautiful houses exist on Lake Washington Boulevard. So I remember being a kid going to school every morning, seeing all those gorgeous houses and being like, just awestruck at how beautiful they were. And so I was like, well, when it comes time to pick, a major, I was like, maybe I'll study architecture. There's math. I like math. There's, design, there's creativity, there's those types of things. And so I was like, okay, let's try that out. And luckily Garfield had a tech academy.
Yeah.
So I, got into those classes and ended up, being the only Black and the only female
like
in a lot of those spaces.
Tokenizers thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A little bit. So that was
Did
definitely
that have
an experience.
Effect on you?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I don't think it had as much of an effect as it could have. But it definitely, I felt different, but for me, being the way that I am, being that I've always kind of known, we talked about early childhood. I always knew from a very young age that I was different. Yeah. I didn't know how, I didn't know what it was, but I knew I was different.
It was different.
Yeah. So that was okay for me. I was used to kind of being the outsider in those ways, because I always felt different than everybody else. So being the token was okay for me, because that just allowed me the space to shine.
Yeah.
So
and shine you did,
yeah.
So so I want to talk about like going through that evolution, right?
Yeah.
So like you always come off like so strong.
Yeah.
You don't think that you're in, but you are like, when you walk into a room, everything just lights up. And I know that through that process, I know you talked a lot about grief and loss through that process. So
yeah.
Can we unpack that?
Yeah, for sure.
And you got to understand, y'all, I'm going to ask my friend if we can unpack that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
No. Yeah. Consent is key always. Yeah. Now I plan to get deep here, so let's get deep. Yeah. But yeah, in high school, I experienced one of my biggest family losses. My grandfather passed away the Christmas of my sophomore year, and that definitely changed a lot for me. He was the patriarch of our family.
Yeah. What was his name?
Raymond Ward Sr. Yeah, he was a fixture in the community as well. If you know that name, if you're familiar with the history of Seattle, history of Central District, my family owned a lot of property in the CD. He owned a tavern there as well as a general store. And he was active in the construction community here in Seattle and in Kent. So he was a big dude. He was smart. He was physically big, and he meant business. So
favorite memory? Can I just say?
Oh yeah, he used to call me Tiki.
Okay.
He used to call me Tiki, and I just can hear his voice. Hey, Tiki, like I can hear it. I can still hear it and feel him in that. Yeah, he was a big dude. He had an amazing smile. He had a gold grill. He had grill and shit. Like he had caps.
Okay, grill.
So he's from the South. So, and he didn't shy from that. He didn't feel as though he had to assimilate when he came here. Like he brought all of him with him. And I think all of my family does that.
Amen.
Yeah.
Honey, yes.
Yeah.
And through that, you were still doing the tech program, going to school.
Yeah.
And I mean,
playing basketball.
Right. And as Black folks, we don't have opportunity to agree because you are also staying busy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I definitely recall, trying to get back on the court after his funeral, and I just broke down. I couldn't do it. And so that was actually the moment that I hung up my basketball shoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. After losing my grandfather. So yeah.
It
was
process.
Tough. Okay. It was tough. Yeah. Because that was one of my first loves. Basketball has always been there for me. So, but one of the things that I've come to know about myself in my life is that I've always been faced with very clear, very like stark, like forks in the road where you got to make a decision. It's like either you stay on that path or you go somewhere else. And I usually choose the path less traveled.
Yeah.
But it's gotten me here.
But it's the evolution
Yes.
of TDUB. And we're going to talk
Absolutely.
more about that evolution when we come back. You're watching We Live in Color.
Yeah.
Get ready, everyone. October 24th and 25th, Converge Media is heading right back to the Paramount Theater. Join me, Besa Gordon, Art Calligraphy, Trey Holiday, and the entire Converge Media family as we once again broadcast live with conversations on art, culture, mental health, community issues, and more. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment. Head over to whereweconverge.com for more information, and we will see you October 24th and 25th, streaming live across all Converge Media platforms.
Community, it's been 3 years since we've been able to celebrate in person at our annual Evening with Choice. And this year at Access in Pioneer Square on October 19th at 6 p.m., we will be back together again, celebrating our journey, healing towards justice. This past couple of years have been incredibly difficult for our young people and our community at large. And one thing that has become clear and absolutely true is there's one way forward that brings all of us together, and that's as we heal. And when our young people heal, they're truly able to become who it is they've been purposed to be. So on this evening, you'll hear stories of our young people, hear the evolution of our organization as we emphasize healing in our cause. And together we will celebrate another year of impact and growth as we journey towards justice together. Again, it's at Access in Pioneer Square, 6 p.m. on October 19th, and live streaming will be available through YouTube at I Choose 180.
And we're back with We Live in Color. I'm here with T-Dub.
Yes, sir. We're getting into it.
What do you prefer, Takiyah or T-Dub?
You know, I have a lot of names. People know me
Can
by
we get all of them?
So you have Takiyah, which was my given name by my mother. You got T-Dub, which is the art side. So like the visuals and the sneakers and the murals and all that's T-Dub. And we have Takweets, which is the performer, entertainer, ego, larger than life kind of thing. We have T, which is kind of becoming the amalgamation of them all. So
See, I need to come up with other names because I know people already tell me I got multiple personalities. And I just fit them in just one name, you know? So,
you got to give them names. You got to, give them their power.
Right. We'll talk about that in a second. But,
Definitely.
as we're talking about your journey and
Mhm.
your evolution, right?
Yeah.
College, like, I know, graduated from Garfield, right?
Yes, graduated from
And
Garfield.
then here we go into college.
Yeah.
So what was that process like for you?
Yeah, it was one of those things that mom was like, because we were both from Seattle, so she was born and raised here too, which is rare breed. So she was like, when it comes time to go to college, get out of Seattle. And get out of Seattle is what I did. So I ended up on the opposite side of the country. I studied architecture at the New York Institute of Technology
Okay.
in Long Island. So I was in the sticks. I wasn't in the city. And of course, when you go to college in New York,
So where
you think
is
you're
that
going to
at?
be.
Where's in the sticks of New York?
It's like this town called Hicksville, Old Westbury. So it's like mid-east kind of area. It was mansions and golf courses was all that was over, and colleges was all that was there. So it was definitely a very different experience than what I expected of New York. But I definitely learned a lot. I learned a lot of skills in the architecture program that I still use to this day, as far as like drafting, design, model making, some of the graphic design programs, things of that nature. Sadly didn't finish because I couldn't afford it, which is, a thing.
Yeah,
But
for us.
yeah, definitely. There was a lot of obstacles with going to college, and shouts out to Biden for that relief, because we needed it.
Right. Big shout out.
Real talk. But yeah, a lot of obstacles. But we made it through. We made it to a point, and again, it was another opportunity for a fork in the road. It was like, okay, do I keep going with my collegiate career, or do I go home and try something else? And so I ended up coming back to Seattle, working 9 to 5s, for a good while, and was just not feeling it, not
Yeah.
feeling where I was at. I mean, it was cool, you know what I mean? Like in that time. So college was I went to college for a few years, came back home, worked 9 to 5s. I was going to the clubs and shit and meeting people.
Clubs.
That's when I started kind of getting
Shout
my
out
little,
to our place.
Yeah.
In Rebar.
Yes. And neighbors, of course. Yeah. So that's when I got my little Takiyah sort of kind of started growing and evolving, and because I would go to clubs and I would dance and people would started to know me for dancing.
So once we were touching into that, right?
Yeah.
So where were you dancing at, and can we give
Get
those people those flowers? Can we give those people those flowers that were performing with you at that time? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a situation where I was performing just yet, but like, you know, Havana was our spot. So Tuesday nights, shouts out to Hoot and Howl, which I don't know if nobody probably on this live right now is familiar with this shit, but you know, Havana had a Tuesday night where they did all 90s music, and we cut that floor every week. Also got to give a shout out to Capitol Club. They used to have the Monday nights, and me and the homies will be in there doing our little breaking, pocket locking, and all that cute stuff. So then we had a couple staple places where you could just go and just do your thing, and people started to kind of know me for dancing from that. Yeah. So that's where Takiyah was born.
So that's where she was born.
Yes.
And as she was born,
yes,
she was evolving. So what was happening in your surroundings? Because I mean, hey, we are on Capitol Hill.
Right. And Capitol Hill is the hill.
I have to ask. You were on this journey of discovery already in the areas of your career.
For sure.
So were there any other spaces of discovery?
Oh yeah, for sure. There was definitely a lot of personal discovery as well. I think, you know, like I said, I've always known I was different, but I never felt comfortable exploring those things in my earlier life because of, you know, fears of being outed, fears of being ostracized, fears of being bullied, fears of being, you know, looked down upon for whatever reason and things like that. So I was just like, I'm not even going to deal with that shit just yet. I'm gonna just kind of do me and be me. And when the time comes, I will have a safe space and have a brave space to kind of figure out who I am. And fortunately that came, you know, early 20s, whatnot, you know, being in the club, being on the scene, being on Capitol Hill, you know, that's where all the kids hang out. Yeah. So I got to see some things and experience some things and kind of get a feel for who I was and how I wanted to exist in the world. And, you know, definitely, you know, discovered a lot about myself in those years for sure, and met some amazing people. One of which, you know,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know,
absolutely. Shout out to that person I know. She knows who she is.
Yeah. So, you know, it was,
love you, Kayla.
Yeah. Love you, babe. Yeah. So it was a
journey of like discovering yourself, right? Yeah. As people know, they see it on TV, but as a Black lesbian woman in that area of discovery, right? Yes. What were the hardships in that?
I mean,
were there any? Excuse me.
You know, I really can't speak to anything in particular at this moment. I've always been very, you know, independent, very self-sufficient, you're not going to tell me shit about myself because I know who I am. So, you know, when those times came, I handled them how I handle anything, I think, you know, and I was fortunate enough to have people around me that didn't perpetuate a lot of that shit. So, I felt, you know, fairly nurtured in my ability to just kind of figure things out for myself on my own. I never felt pressured by anybody or anything to be any type of way. And I guess I have to credit Capitol Hill and just having a scene, you know, for people to just kind of be. And I mean, you know, if you know anything about Seattle and Capitol Hill, like you see all kind of shit up there. Like, you know, so me being my little Black gay self was nothing compared to what was actually going on, you know? So it was like, you know, that sort of spectrum just allowed for, you know, space to just kind of figure it out. And I never felt pressured to do anything or be anybody or be with anybody that I didn't want to. Yeah. So
that's real. Okay.
Yeah. Lucky.
Yeah, right. Lucky.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and you go on this, you're on this journey of discovery, and you are getting more and more into your art, getting more and more into your career, and your art is into you. So can you let us know, like, over those course of 10 to 15 years, right?
Yeah.
How that has came to be?
Yeah. So, you know, being on the scene, I did a lot of, you know, I talked about the club stuff, being on the club scene, just dancing and being known as a dancer. A couple folks kind of, saw the skills and wanted to bring me on board to some more professional things. Got to definitely give a shout out to Audra Boo and Mike Sylvester of Fly Moon Royalty, because they gave me one of my first starts on stage as a performer.
Okay,
and it was really just me freestyling, and again, I have to credit my people for allowing me the space to just do what I wanted to do, because I was just a freestyle performer. So I would just get on stage and do what I always did. It wasn't a situation of where I had to like practice or choreograph anything. I just got to do me. So I'm very, very thankful for that. And, traveling with those guys, I got to hit so many stages: Sasquatch, Bumbershoot, you name it, Block Party. I've done it all. I've been on almost every stage in Seattle through dance and through my style of dance. I had never had to do anything that, I never had to put myself in a box in any kind of way. I got to dress how I wanted to dress and dance to the songs I wanted to dance to. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm very fortunate.
Absolutely.
in the ways that I've gotten to explore and express who I am and my individuality. So did a lot of performing. And then, I was working 9 to 5s, and I wasn't feeling creative in the ways that I wanted to feel. And so I took a leap of faith in 2016, and I quit my day job, which
can you hear me say what you were doing?
I was working retail. I was working at Macy's, working at good old Macy's.
Shout out to Macy's.
But I took a leap of faith, and I was like, I gotta do what feels right for me. And I didn't get to touch on this, but middle school was actually when I started doing custom sneakers. So that was a passion of mine for a very, very long time. And I would just tinker away at it every once in a while. Did a couple things in high school for some friends and stuff like that. But I was like, I gotta find creativity. I gotta bring creativity more back into my life. I don't want to work a 9 to 5 job forever. I'm not looking for no upward mobility. I'm not looking for none of that, So quit my job. Was living on my mom's couch at that time. It was hard times, man. It was real hard. But I started TDUB Customs, and I started, painting people's sneakers and painting my own sneakers and painting clothes and painting hats and painting shoes for people. And being from Seattle, the word spread very quickly, of what I was doing. And so that support, it always came in and always came back to me, in the ways that I needed it to. So
are there any pairs is there anything you customize that is most memorable to you?
Oh man, what's crazy is that I remember them all. I did a pair of Sunset Stan Smiths for myself that I still have. Those were my very first pair back into customizing.
Okay.
So I'll put those on the mantle, let the resole when the time comes. But those are my very first pair. And I also got to give a shout out to Gifted Gab. I did a couple pairs for her at the very beginning of starting my business. Like the very beginning, she was like one of my first customers. They weren't the best. but they was done, so I definitely got to give a shout out to Gab, and she still rocks with me and still rock with her. So that kind of stuff that creates that longevity, that relationship is what's super important for me.
Absolutely. And I think one of the customized pieces that you've done were the shoes. The football the
cleats.
The cleats. See, look at me, the football shoes.
Yeah.
You should see how Curtis is looking at me like the football shoes, the cleats that you did. Yes. What was that like? I mean, I think that shout out to the Hightower family. Because I think that a lot of community members, we, especially with that story and what's impacted that family, still needs your support. Please look at Castile Hightower and how to support the Hightower family. But
absolutely,
you like showing expression for advocacy through art, let alone NFL scene. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So I was asked by Russell Wilson and his Why Not You Foundation to customize a pair of cleats for an annual thing that happens with the NFL called My Cause, My Cleats. So a lot of athletes will get custom cleats made and auction them off, and the proceeds for those auctions go towards an organization or a charity of their choice. So Russell Wilson has Why Not You, his own foundation, and so he wanted to do some cleats in honor of the Black Lives Matter movement. And so that was his idea, and it had just so happened that Castile had reached out to myself and VMC looking for support for justice for her brother, for Herbert. So
Yes.
I kind of took that as an opportunity to bring that into that sort of like spotlight. So I did Paracletes for Russell. It featured portraits, hand painted portraits. They took 8 hours each, of Herbert, of Charlena, of George Floyd, and then of Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
And he actually wore those in a game. And of course they were seen around the world. So
Yes.
yeah.
I just remember that standing out, and let alone, I have a jacket that you have. That I think, no, was it?
Did you give me a
custom made?
jacket?
No, I have one. I have
Oh,
a
okay.
jacket.
You want to get done?
Yeah, that I'm supposed to give back to you. I borrowed it one day and never gave it back. But either way, sorry, I was about to tell on myself on national TV. But anyway, okay. As we were talking about that, can we touch pandemic?
Yeah. Let's talk about pandemic.
How was TDUB during pandemic? Was it the best of times?
Yeah, and I mean, it's sad that this show is only half hour because we could talk for 10 hours.
No, this show is as long as we need.
Oh, okay, say less.
You are a queen of Converge, so we are going. You are running until
I appreciate
we
that.
get to the next space.
That's
we can go all the way to Art of the Matter season 2
Come on
starts.
now.
Okay?
I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah, pandemic was tough for a number of reasons. Yeah. I'm trying to think back to January 2020, what was going on. So January 2020, I had a full calendar of performing that was set, was ready to go. We were going to be 2 shows a week, whole year. Yeah. And it was going to be dope. Come February, we did photo shoots. Everything's going great. It's awesome. About to, get this money, get to this bag. March rolls around and the entire world shuts down. And my entire calendar is cleared. So I was like, okay, well, what are we going to do for money for the rest of the year? Not really sure. But, obviously a global pandemic will do that. And then shortly after that, I got sick. So I actually contracted OG COVID. I was down for a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was probably the most physically taxing thing I have ever and will ever go through in my entire life.
Yeah.
I was in my apartment. I was alone for a month. My mom was risking her own health to come and see me and make sure that I had medicine and food and smoothies and all the shit that I needed to recover. And other friends, other family would come and check in on me from time to time. Kayla would come in and check in on me from time to time. But I spent a lot of time by myself. And in that time, I chose to go inward. I chose to really, really check in with myself and make a decision on if we're going to get through this first off.
Yeah.
If we have the strength to do that.
Yeah.
And
going inward could be really scary.
It can be very scary. It was very scary. It was very scary. If we're going to survive it, and then who are we going to be after that? So I spent the month doing that. I had a couple of little virtual shows because that was the thing, at the beginning of COVID, of quarantine. Did a couple of those and they definitely kept me going. So shout out to Simone Penn for hooking that up. Sade and Anya, family always, for making sure that we had anything to do, with that time. Because that definitely kept me physically active. And that was an important thing, to make sure that you, just weren't laying there and taking it. You had to kind of get up and be active in order to get through it. So those helped me do that. But yeah, it was a gnarly time. It was a gnarly time. But I did a lot of introspection. And, when I got healthy and I was able to get out of it, luckily, there were some gifts on the other side. Yeah. And one of them was, my partner. Yeah. And we moved into an amazing apartment down here in Pioneer Square.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't telling you the location.
Nah. So yeah,
What is it? I have to ask, partnership, right?
Yeah.
I love my community.
Yeah.
Some of us with the G's, it's hard to find that longevity. But what is it like to have a partner such as Miss Gutter Queen?
Yes. It's probably one of the most rewarding relationships that I have ever had. Friendship, romantic, across the board, because Kayla allows me to be myself and she challenges me to be better. Not just for her, for me. And we do that for each other. And, we've been together on and off. I always say that because, got to be realistic, for almost 9 years. And that's your best friend. So, about Kayla. People who know her. And I love her. I love who she is. And I love our relationship. I love our family. And we got our little dog and our little apartment. And we just be trying to live life and be good people and be, of service to our friends and our family. And, you always, but no matter what, you know what I mean? When you get to that point where it's like, it doesn't matter what you do, you are always going to be a part of me. Yeah. So we figured that out, and we've been rocking ever since. We got tears.
Look, love is real.
Yeah.
Damn you, Cuddy. I wasn't even, but it's real.
Yeah.
And love looks beautiful on you.
Thank
and
you
her.
So much. Thank you.
And I'm going to cuss out Curtis. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the Queen of Converge coming to Converge. You're watching We Live in Color. Cuddy.
Get ready, everyone. October 24th and 25th, Converge Media is heading right back to the Fairmount Theater. Join me, Besa Gordon, Eric Calligraphy, Trey Holiday, and the entire Converge Media family as we once again broadcast live with conversations on art, culture, mental health, community issues, and more. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment. Head over to whereweconverge.com for more information, and we will see you October 24th and 25th, streaming live across all Converge Media platforms.
Community, it's been 3 years since we've been able to celebrate in person at our annual Evening of Choice. And this year at Access in Pioneer Square on October 19th at 6 p.m., we will be back together again, celebrating our journey, healing towards justice. This past couple of years have been incredibly difficult for our young people and our community at large. And one thing that has become clear and absolutely true is there's one way forward that brings all of us together, and that's as we heal. And when our young people heal, they're truly able to become who it is they've been purposed to be. So on this evening, you'll hear stories of our young people, hear the evolution of our organization as we emphasize healing in our cause. And together we will celebrate another year of impact and growth as we journey towards justice together. Again, it's at Access in Pioneer Square, 6 p.m. on October 19th, and live streaming will be available through YouTube at I Choose 180.
And we're back with We Live in Color. My eyes are trying.
Yes.
So let's get back to the interview.
Yes,
I love you. And just
I love you.
Real love here.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We were talking about like you going inward, but you kept going.
Yes.
And throughout that space, you were able to give Capitol Hill something.
Yes.
That mural.
Yeah.
Right there. Smack dab.
In the street.
In the midst of everything, right? What does that mural mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot. I mean, I think it is a testament to artists and our ability to speak volumes. Before we did the mural, obviously we're going through pandemic and quarantine, and the entire city is boarded up and everybody is in their houses and we don't know what's going to happen next, right? So we're in that space. Millions of people are dying. People are losing their family, their friends. They can't touch them. They can't be with them in their final moments. There's no mourning. There's no grieving. There's no nothing. It's just chaos around the world. So that's where we are. And then a Black man is murdered by the police.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I went numb. Like I couldn't believe that we were back there after all the shit we had been through.
Yeah.
This is what the order of events looks like. Yeah. I always joke that Jesus could come down from the sky and a Black man would still get murdered. There is no stopping whatever that is, So When that happened, I was like, okay, I spent maybe like 4 or so days just couldn't move, couldn't talk, couldn't eat, couldn't think. And then the shit started. So I live right by the courthouse. So that's where all the protests initially began.
Yeah.
So I was hearing the choppers, I was hearing the flash grenades, I was hearing the bombs, I was hearing the screaming, outside of my window on a constant basis. I'm seeing on the news, and I'm seeing through Omari's feed and through Futures Crystal's feeds what's going on Capitol Hill and how police are treating regular people, because of what's happening. And a fire was lit. I was like, okay, we got to do something. I'm not a protester. I'm not a in the streets on the front lines kind of person, but I am an artist, and I was like, okay, if I can't put my energy there, I'm going to put it here. And so that opportunity, we call it VMC, we call it divine timing. Yeah. What that was, because everything was it wasn't supposed to happen the way that it did, right? It was 48-hour effort that led to that mural being created. And a lot of people on the ground in the Chop Chaz, helped us out to clear that area, to actually clear the space for that to exist. And all the artists that I called answered, so there was 2 really big things that could have very well not happened. Yeah. That actually did, that led to that mural being created. So yeah. And then it was seen around the world.
Yeah. Seen around the world.
Yeah.
And Erykah Badu says this quote, "I'm an artist, and I am sensitive about my ish."
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So I would have to ask, right? There was I remember there was just a point where they were trying to get rid of the art.
Yes.
First of all, screw whoever was trying to get rid of the art.
Yeah.
But in the meantime,
yeah.
Can you walk me through that process? Because it's like they reached out to someone else.
Yes.
About it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know this person, right? And can you walk me through how that made you feel, right?
Yeah.
Because I know, and I've heard this before, that this happens to Black women artists constantly.
Yeah.
If you could.
For sure. About a month later, after the original mural was created, after it was created and it was seen around the world, then the city reached out to us because I think they knew that they couldn't just get rid of it without causing another uproar, right? Because of the scale, because of what it said, because of where it was, they couldn't just buff it like they tried to buff everything else. They literally scored the street of all of that art that happened in the Chop Chaz once they swept it. Our mural was the only thing that existed for a while. So we were in conversation with them, and somehow another person got through the chain of command and got permission to clean our mural. I got a call the morning it was happening that it was taking place, and I was like, nobody on our team is on Capitol Hill, so who could possibly be working on this mural? So I go up there, and sure enough, it was a person in community that we know, that knows us, that has our phone numbers. Could have called, could have said what's up. But they took matters into their own hands and actually ended up doing more harm than good. So it went from us having a conversation with the city around preservation to then having a conversation about removal and then repainting. So that's why there are actually 2 murals instead of just the original one. And I think the saddest part about us no longer having the original mural is that one of our artists, Angelina, who did the A in black, actually put her mother's ashes in one of the paints. So when it got damaged, that had to get removed.
Oh no.
So there was a lot of elements like that in that original piece that, are no longer there. They're with us in spirit, obviously, but they're not physically there.
Yeah.
So we repainted the mural, and we actually have a contract with the city now. We repaint it every year for the next 5 years.
Okay.
And it is officially a landmark here in Seattle.
So if y'all see anybody touching our ish,
that ain't
so
VMC.
you call, right?
Yeah, real talk.
But that's amazing.
Yeah.
For you to go through that pandemic and choose to, you could have went outward, right?
Yeah.
And just went inward with your work and supportive community members and partners alike, right?
Yeah.
Finding your truth. And then also I think that the situation, this is just my opinion, right?
Mhm.
That situation, especially with what's happening to the mural, kind of happened, right? To lead you to find like the art
Yeah.
of the matter, right?
Real
So
talk.
can we talk about how you started?
Working with Converge.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, honestly, that mural is, and I think I can speak for everybody in Vivid Matter Collective. Vivid Matter Collective is the artists who created the mural. So there's 16 of us, and we've been working together ever since. We're coming up on year 3 now. We actually just had a meeting today, and still going strong. So that the gift that keeps on giving. But we all talk about how much of a gift that the mural has actually been. We did this in 2 days, and here we are almost 3 years later, still reaping the benefits of that effort. And one of the benefits that I received is actually getting to work with Omari. And when we were actually on the scene in the midst of Chop Chaz, he was one of the journalists, one of the media people who was actually on the ground. So he did a lot of correspondence for a lot of national publications. And so he actually interviewed me at the mural about the effort. And so that's how Omari and I met, was actually at the mural. We had a couple more, interviews over time. And then, there was an idea for a show around artists that Converge wanted to develop. And he called me to host. And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
The
Been
rest is
rocking
history.
ever since.
What has been some of your favorite episodes? Season 1 was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone's already screaming about a season 2 in
I
between,
know,
right?
Still in the meeting.
Right. And can you tell us some of your favorite episodes?
Yeah, I mean, the first one is definitely one of my favorites because it was the first one, So the first episode features my bro, Mr. Moses' son, amazing artist. I've been fortunate to know him for a number of years. And so I knew that comfortability wise, it would be a good conversation because that's what we do. We talk. As soon as we met each other, we flapping at the gums. So I knew it would be a good conversation. So that's definitely one of my most favorites. And then they're all my favorite. 13 episodes. If you haven't seen them, go watch them. They're all on YouTube on the Converge Media page. They're all my favorites. Obviously, having a conversation with my partner, with Kayla, was a great one. My best friend, Brianna, second to last episode, and then finale with my mother.
Mama.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the most special ones. Yeah.
And so here we are.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask.
Uh-huh.
When is season 2 coming? What's up? What's
Still
up with
in the
it?
meeting.
Okay.
Yep, we're still in meeting, still developing, still trying to get, the ideas, to a place where they can be, laid out in the ways that we did. Season 1 was definitely, like most things here at Converge, labor of love, me and Brady. Shout out to Brady Mac and them hats. Yeah, that's my guy. It would be he and I, going to folks' houses, going to folks' studios, filming, film some more, edit some more, and so we started August of 2021 and we finished June of this year.
What is it like working with Brady? Because I mean,
man,
I see it. It's just you and O and the love y'all have for Brady.
Right,
like
I've
always wanted to work with him in the space, right? And of course,
yeah.
we're all Converge family, but
yes.
I want to give that brother his flowers. So, what was it like working with?
Oh yeah,
that
no,
brother?
Brady is a savant. That guy, he has a gift for what he does. He has a gift for being able to capture energy through a camera, and he's young, he's got that energy, he's able to stay up 10, 12 hours and, get the editing done and crank it out. And, I really look forward to when he finds that stride to where he can really just blossom. But Brady is incredible. He is really, really great at what he does. He's really great at capturing what needs to be captured. And he's just an old soul, he's young, but he's an old soul. He's got that on him. You know what I'm talking about. He got it. So love Brady.
We talk about Converge family.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the queens?
Yes.
Let's talk about all of them.
My
and
gosh.
Just like, it's so funny because when we have community events, when we see each other, it's all love, same love with everybody,
always.
Right? But when the queens come in the room,
when the queens
it's
come
just
through,
like, hey, squad up. So
move out the way.
Right, exactly.
I'm with my girls and we all need space.
So what is your experience like for the past couple of years working with those with these wonderful women.
Yeah, absolutely. So I knew Trey from Community from Africa Town. So I had kind of been familiar with her and her work for a little while. But we actually, the very first time that all four queens were together was in Belize. So I'm new to Converge. I've been here maybe a couple months or so. We've maybe filmed, I want to say 1 or 2 episodes of Art of the Matter. And then Omari calls me and is like, yeah, we're going to Belize. You want to go? And I'm like, what? And then next thing you know, I'm at the airport, fucking 5 a.m, getting the red carpet rolled out for us to go on this inaugural flight with Alaska Airlines. And I'm like, what is life?
Yeah.
What is life? But I had the opportunity to meet and to learn about and to experience Besa and Jules and Trey, in this gorgeous, country. It was really, really an incredible gift to be able to do that and experience that with those ladies. And the queens are a force. Y'all haven't even experienced the queens yet. These guys here at Converge have been lucky enough to kind of experience us all together. But just wait. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's coming. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And on that note, right, we're gonna take one more break. We have our Live in Color tribute as well as our events. You're watching We Live in Color. We're gonna be here a long time, girl.
Get ready, everyone. October 24th and 25th, Converge Media is heading right back to the Paramount Theater. Join me, Besa Gordon, Art Calligraphy, Trey Holiday, and the entire Converge Media family as we once again broadcast live with conversations on art, culture, mental health, community issues, and more. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment. Head over to whereweconverge.com for more information, and we will see you October 24th and 25th, streaming live across all Converge Media platforms.
Community, it's been 3 years since we've been able to celebrate in person at our annual Evening of Choice. And this year at Access in Pioneer Square on October 19th at 6 p.m., we will be back together again, celebrating our journey, healing towards justice. This past couple of years have been incredibly difficult for our young people and our community at large. And one thing that has become clear and absolutely true is there's one way forward that brings all of us together, and that's as we heal. And when our young people heal, they're truly able to become who it is they've been purposed to be. So on this evening, you'll hear stories of our young people, hear the evolution of our organization as we emphasize healing in our cause. And together we will celebrate another year of impact and growth as we journey towards justice together. Again, it's at Access in Pioneer Square, 6 p.m. on October 19th, and live streaming will be available through YouTube at I Choose 180.
Welcome back to We Live in Color. We are here for our We Live in Color tribute.
Yes.
Who would you like to tribute today, sis?
Yes. So for this tribute, I want to pay homage to a friend who we recently lost in community, Jaquan Price, aka LaSaviana Hunt. Just an amazing performer, an amazing human being. We had a weekend full of memorial of our friend Jaquan / LaSaviana, and all you heard from the people that came across him and were touched by his life was just how much of a spirit and how much of an energy that he was. And so what you guys see here on the screen is a painting that I recently finished. It doesn't have a title, it's untitled. But it sort of depicts the duality of what I believe, Jaquan / LaSaviana was, and thinking about Jaquan, the person, and what LaSaviana was to Jaquan, and that character, that energy, allowing him to really be free and really express in ways that he probably couldn't in his regular life. I wanted to capture that as best as I could. And so that's what you see here. And one of the fun facts about this piece is that it's actually, I started it and it was, turn it. Yeah. I actually started it and it was this way. And so I started painting the background And then I kind of looked at it and I realized that there were two figures in the paint.
Okay.
And so that's when it actually ended up getting turned and becoming what you see now. So, I wanted to create something for my friend. I miss Jaquan. We will always miss Jaquan. We will always miss LaSaviana.
How big was Jaquan's impact?
Oh, it was
in our
huge.
community?
It was huge. He held down our place, Neighbors, Queer Bar for years, producing and hosting and performing in shows, putting people on that had never been in drag before, who had never been on a stage before. He was a helper. He was a guide, in his time here. And I think everybody who came into contact with him was touched by his presence. And obviously he leaves behind a twin brother who, we hold and we will take care of, in his absence. So yeah, I wanted to create this piece for my friend, and the hopes is that if you guys see it, if you guys know anything about Jaquan or LaSaviana, we actually want to auction this off. So if you want to hit me up on Instagram at TDUB Customs, or email me tdubcustoms206@gmail.com, or hit up Converge if you're interested in acquiring this piece. We want to make sure the proceeds go to his family, and yeah, make sure that he lives on.
How long? Can you tell us more details about how long it took you to create this portrait?
So this one probably took me, I want to say, about 5 days. And this is one of the ones that I was able to do for myself. I kind of created this piece just in wanting to create some art. It wasn't a commission. It wasn't anything that anybody asked me to do. I wanted to paint, and that's what came, through the canvas. That's what ended up being this piece. So I want to say about 5 days between the background and the actual, portrait work. I think it came out really great. I think it really captures Jaquan's energy in a way that people don't necessarily see, because most people know Jaquan for being an incredibly loud, jovial, cheese and all the time kind of person. But I think he had a side to him that a lot of people didn't know, and that's what I tried to capture with that piece. So, I've known Jaquan for a very long time. I've known Keon for a very long time. And his loss, his passing is a huge loss to the community. I will never forget the day that I heard the news. September 19th was one of the hardest things that I've ever heard. We've been experiencing a lot of loss in these past couple of years, but that one really, really hurt. And the first thing I thought of is, where is his brother? So Keon, we with you. Love you, bro. Love you, Jaquan. Love you, LaSaviana. And you're gonna live on forever.
Absolutely. You are, first of all, beyond that painting.
Yeah.
You are just so amazing.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, love.
Art of the Matter, TDUB Customs. And if you look at her IG, I don't know how to tag her because I'm like, which one is she logged into? I have to do this every day, almost every day. How can I tag her, or which one is she logged into? We do have some events. You got some events coming up, and community needs to support.
Absolutely.
How can we do that?
Yeah. So the two biggest things that I got going on right now is I am building a store. So TDUB Customs is now becoming the Resole 206. It will be Seattle's very first dry cleaner for sneakers. We are located on 23rd and Union at the Midtown Square. The space is being built out, and we need funding. So you see the website right there. You see the email address. Hit me up. We're looking to build the business. We're looking to share the business. I'm looking to share the business because I know in fostering this idea and nurturing this idea for as long as I have, I've been doing custom sneakers for 20 years, almost over 20 years. This store has always been something that I've kind of dreamed of, and now it's happening. And in creating the business plan and creating the business model, I'm realizing that this thing can and will be much bigger than me. And so I need help. I need support. I need business, building a team. So reach out to us, the Resole 206 on Instagram, and the Resole 206@gmail.com if you want to get a part of that. I'm actually putting together a presentation that I want to share with folks to bring folks in, because it's going to be big. So that's the biggest thing for me right now is the store. The other big thing that we got going on with the Resole 206, we're actually next month going to be doing a super dope sneaker convention with Fresh Kicks Market. So Fresh Kicks Market is actually created by Nick Mitchell out of Atlanta. Super successful event, brings all kinds of sneaker retailers and resellers from all walks of life. Streetwear, street fashion, food, drinks, games, raffles, prizes, you name it. So we're bringing that from Atlanta to Seattle, working with Jazz Richards from Black Sunflower Club, Also DJ Humble, myself, we are the the starting four putting this thing together. It's happening November 20th at Within Soto, which is in Soto. Hit us up at Fresh Kicks Market on Instagram, as well as freshkicksmarket.store is the website for the tickets. We are looking for vendors. We are looking for people to buy the tickets for the event. So make sure you check that out. So
in other words, she said, I got a job, I got another job, I got another job. It's how you can support this job and then this job and then this job. Either way, support.
Look, I feel like homie off at Live in Color. I got 15 jobs.
Right, but it's great to watch.
Yeah,
so just
good.
people just remember to check out some of those events. We got a couple more events too for y'all. One of the things that we do have coming up this coming weekend is, I believe we have the Lituation. The Lituation is going to be Saturday, DJ, well, I was gonna say DJ. What am I supposed to call that brother? DJ? No, Coach T has that going on this weekend, and I cannot wait. It's gonna be so exciting. It's a Halloween themed. No. So best contest gets, I believe, $200. No, these Lituation events have been going on for months, and last month at Julius was jumping. This month is gonna be here out there in Kent. So please, for more information, please reach out to Coach T. Mm-hmm. And shout out to Coach T, by the way. Let's go to the next event. The next one we have, because I do believe Queer Film Festival is this weekend. Yes, it is. I will be facilitating a group. Black As You Are will be the documentary that'll get played. Can we put that overlay back up? Black As You Are. It is a documentary that mainly talks about what it looks like growing up, especially we know that 70% of homeless youth are what? Black LGBTQ community members. Yes. This documentary encompasses that. Queer Film Festival will be there, as they have been for the past 23 plus years. Yeah. And I'm just so really happy to continue my 5-year relationship with them. So please, for more information, check out Queer Film Festival and or $3 bill cinema for more information. And our last overlay, I believe, or is it the last one? Oh no! Oh yes. No, will we have a benefit concert out there in Lacey and starring one of our own community members, Regine Dynasty? Right, I have to get Regine out here.
Yeah, you do.
But this is going to be in Lacey. Not only is it going to be in Lacey, the theme is they're bringing more community awareness to domestic violence. Beautiful. And I think it's so great to have our community performers out there bringing that message. We also have community activist Erin Jones that'll be out there. So please, for more information, please reach out to Miss Regine Dynasty. And our last interview, our last event, which will also be through Zoe Sweets. It's a fashion show.
Shout out to Zoe Sweets.
Listen, I just need her to make me some velour shorts.
She be doing it.
Yes, so she has a fashion show. I'm so proud of my girl. She has been doing this for so long, before making reels was a thing, okay? Mm-hmm. I can't wait to go to this fashion show. For more information, please check out Zoe Sweets at Zoe Sweets on IG, okay? And that is all we have today. But before we go, thank you.
Thank you, Fran.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And congratulations on We Live in Color. Like, you are really bringing the stories that need to be told to the people. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for putting yourself in that position and carrying it so well.
I thank you as my friend, right? Through all this shit.
The shit.
It's just making sure, like, those check-ins are so important in our community, and there is such a need for it. Yeah, I appreciate you for coming here to be vulnerable.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for going inward, because a lot of us don't have. Some of us don't have the strength to go inward.
Yeah,
you got to go inward to go upward, and I appreciate you. And thank you, sister, for living in color.
Thank you. Love you.
Next week. Oh, it's going down up in here. I'm going to have on my suit, okay? Because we actually have a candidates race that'll be here. That's right. Amida Smith and Chapalo Street right here. And we'll actually be on at a special time, 7 to 9. And I need some help. So I had to call one of the Queens of Converge. So Trey Holiday will be here with me, okay? This will also be sponsored by Federal Way Black Collective, Urban League, as well as Vocal Washington. Join us next week while we live in color, but we're going to hold some people accountable. So that part. Thank you for watching tonight. Y'all have a blessed night.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.